Happy Inauguration Day to Nigerians, and we thank you for joining us on the Wednesday edition of Journalists Hangout. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Today on the program, President Muhammadu Buhari is sworn in for a second term in office as Lagosians welcome Babajide Sanwo-Olu as new governor. And later on the show, Arsenal-Chelsea lock horns in Europa final. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Janet Mba Afolabi. Journalists Hangout starts now. It is Inauguration Day in Nigeria, and President Buhari has been sworn in for a second term in office in a low-key ceremony at the country's capital in Abuja. It was traditional for us on Journalists Hangout to have a special Democracy Day edition on this day. But May 29 no longer has that privilege. June 12 is now the Democracy Day, hence this year's special edition has been shifted till then. But let us savor some of the moments of last year's May 29 edition with our audience. Let us begin with what was discussed regarding the 2019 elections, which ushered in President Buhari for a second term. On that day, Babajide Otitoju correctly predicted that there was nothing stopping the president from winning.
You see, what they think is that by forming a new party, they will be able to dislodge Muhammadu Buhari or the government. The opposition as it is now is weak. People have forgotten that an election will take place in February. February is close. There is a big problem. There is a big problem of branding. You need to put that party in the consciousness of the people for a long time before they can begin to see that party as their own. So if you think that you can seat the president with a new party, you are wasting your time.
What are you saying, Jide?
A new party at this time, maybe an ADC. I've said it before that you need at least 2 cycles of elections before APC can be kicked out of power.
2 cycles.
2 cycles, and I'm very confident that that's what will happen, because the opposition is really weak at this time. The opposition is weak, no doubt about it.
Same Buhari that came into power in 2015, he is no longer the same. He came as a messiah then. He is coming as Buhari, a human being now, not the same.
It is the Nigerian voters who will determine whether they still want him or not. It is the Nigerian voters, not you and I. What I'm saying is based on what I see. And time is always the judge, because we will all, maybe a few months down the line, we will sit down and say, but he said this.
Gentlemen, final take on this. Final take.
There are 4 groups of people that will determine the
You have
election.
30 seconds.
Yes. First, the power brokers. 2, the political stakeholders. Then 3, masses. Then 4, the elites. Now, first, those stakeholders that you used in 2015 that didn't get anything back and would know that if you come back for second term, they may not get. They won't sit and watch the same way.
The APC and President Muhammadu Buhari, they blamed their way into Aso Rock in 2015. 2019, Nigerians won't accept that. They want to know what they have done to help the situation. They inherited a bad situation. They want to know how far they have done.
Babajide, wrapping up on this.
Well,
Fine.
I still stand on what I said earlier, that the president will win the next election.
President will win the next election.
He will win the next election.
Of course, you're watching Journalists Hangout, and that was, some of the actualities from the 2018 Democracy Day edition of the program. And Babajide, as usual, you proved to be clairvoyant. I pick up on the first comment, about a new party cannot get into the consciousness, cannot be branded so easily into the minds of Nigerians. And that may have informed the re-strategizing of the opposition ahead of the 2019 election.
Yes, they didn't have the privilege of sufficient time that the APC had. The APC had at least roughly 2.5 years, to prepare for the 2015 election. I remember they had been meeting, trying to hammer out a deal to set up the party. And I think even their first consultative forum meeting was held in 2013. That was 2 clear years before the election. But at the time when we had that Democracy Day edition, it was just 1 year to the election. So I knew that time was not on their hands.
On their side.
So you need time. You need time to build a party that resides in the heart of the people. It is when the party resides in the heart of the people that they can truly see it as their own and go all out to ensure victory for it. So time was not on their hands, and I didn't see the possibility of a new party, a third force, winning that election.
Janet, very quickly, Kolawole Johnson's point about those who didn't work in 2015 cannot come and reap the gains in 2019. Did that prove to be true?
Those who didn't work in 2019?
In 2015 will not, come and reap the gains in 2019.
No, those who were not rewarded in 2015 will work against the party in 2019. That was his argument.
Was he referring to party members who were not rewarded?
Not rewarded, yes.
Was that what he was talking about?
What he was saying.
Well, members come and members go. So those who felt they were not rewarded may have wanted to join the third force, may have wanted to join other parties, but as they leave, others are coming, and the party would not be stagnant, it's not static, it's also re-strategizing, knowing that in politics, many times, some situations are very fluid. So you should be prepared, like the Boy Scouts, be always prepared.
There is more actuality coming on Journalist Hangouts. Now, the issue of insecurity also came under the spotlight on that day, where we also warned that something drastic must be done to arrest the situation or it would escalate. Latest events in the polity are proving us right.
I will try to make the police and the judiciary much more efficient.
Yes, we'll have that actuality again on latest events about insecurity, proving the points that were made on Journalist Hangout on Inauguration Day 2018, proving us right. So let's have that again.
Are you impressed with the general in Muhammadu Buhari in terms of security?
Well, I'm not a particularly impressionable person. And I also know clearly that the fact that one is a general does not mean all criminals will go and hide under their beds. The president has to show greater leadership in defeating this run of locusts in our country. Life has become extremely cheap in our country.
I can liken it to a 4x4 relay race where Boko Haram started and then they handed the baton over to the herdsmen. So it seems. And then the herdsmen are now running the race. Who they are going to hand the baton over to, we are yet to see that. But I do sincerely pray that we don't have somebody to take the baton from them so that the baton can drop and then we all go to bed and say, hooray, it's all done. But having looked at the whole situation, but I think at the heart of everything is money. I'll tell you why it's money. When I took a look at the budget for defense from 2012, 2011 till now, it has been increasing, and it is deliberately so.
What are you insinuating?
What I'm insinuating is that there are people that are feeding fat from this problem. As far as the problem continues, they keep making money.
And the most unfortunate thing is that the government has not been able to trace the source of arms, the supply of arms to these people.
In the last 3 to 4 years, kidnapping has been far more prevalent in northern Nigeria than in southern Nigeria. It's just that most times these things don't get reported.
That's right.
The Kaduna-Abuja highway, whether we like it or not, kidnapping has come to stay in our land. Thank God I'm not a politician, When someone said the other day that this is our own share of terrorism, there was nothing that Nigerians didn't say. But the reality is, kidnapping has come to stay. It is big business. People prepare for it. People spend money to get it done. So we have to declare a state of emergency on kidnapping.
Interesting commentary there about the issues at the heartbeat of the nation. We'll have time to sufficiently explore that on Journalist Hangout, as I bid you welcome again, particularly if you've just joined us on the program. But we'll kickstart our discussion. My guests today are Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Janet Mba Afolabi.
Thank you so much.
20 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria, and President Buhari has been inaugurated for a second term. What are your expectations from him, Babajide?
Yeah, I expect the president to do better than he did in the first term. I'm not the sort of person who will stand on the rooftop and be shouting that the president has done so much. To do that will be deceiving myself, will amount to deceiving myself. There's a lot of work to do. The president has the mandate of the Nigerian people. The people have shown confidence in him and his leadership, so he must give them good leadership. And it starts even with looking at his team and refusing to reward incompetence. There are many people who work for the president today who do not deserve to keep their jobs. The president will impress me by refusing to reward incompetence, by kicking into touch those who have not proved to us that they are worthy of keeping their jobs. I want to see a situation in which, where kidnapping is prevalent, the president dismisses security people who are in charge of that area. That will make them to sit up. We all saw what happened in Sri Lanka. Just a bomb attack. And the head of the country's security decided to step down. He didn't wait to be fired. But what we have in Nigeria is a situation in which people have come to believe that they won't be fired. So even when their incompetence stares every one of us in the face, they hold on to their jobs, knowing that the president is slow to fire people. The president must show that he can fire people. He must not be slow at firing people. During his first term, he was extremely slow at firing people who are incompetent. But during the second term, I want him to change. Let Nigerians who work for him earn the jobs that is given them. If they are unworthy of keeping those jobs, then he has to let them go and find the right people. A country of up to 180 million people, maybe we are not even up to that because our population is based on projection. A country this large, to be on the safe side, in terms of our population, would always find good enough people to hold key positions. But if we put never-do-wells in key positions and we do not punish them even when they show clear incompetence, then that's not good enough. At the end of the day, it will rub off negatively on the administration. And that's not what Nigerians want to see. So I want the president to defeat insecurity. Insecurity has suddenly become the biggest problem of our country. And the president must see clearly that insecurity is in itself a threat to democracy. Because people are now asking the question, what's going on? What are we gaining from this democracy? If they don't feel that their lives are secure. So insecurity is a threat to democracy. We must do something about it. The president must find a way to defeat insecurity in our country. And the president must ensure that the killings, that he does something about killings in our country. Look, the younger generation must not grow up with the mindset that in Nigeria, lives are cheap and that this is the way we are. No, we were never like this. Killing people for fun had never been the character of Nigerians. So, because it is the height of impunity to take another person's life the way we are seeing people do now in Nigeria. So, the president must address that security has suddenly become the #1 problem. Maybe corruption was the #1 problem in 2015. I dare say that right now, security is the #1 problem. If you ask Nigerians, a lot of them are not talking about corruption because they don't feel secure. So he has to see clearly that insecurity has gone right up to be the #1 problem of our country, and he has to address that. After that, he can address the economy, because even the economy will not thrive in a season of insecurity.
Security, absolutely. Janet, in the same vein, what areas should President Buhari focus on as he takes office for another 4 years?
I think he should focus on security, focus on power, and then focus on roads. I take security first. Nigeria is a prosperous country, should be a prosperous country, considering the kind of resources that we have. So there should be peace in the land. But a lot of people feel neglected over the years, perhaps from independence. And the seed of the pain of that neglect had always been planted. And now they are being reaped. We are now seeing the seeds that have been planted long ago manifesting in different forms. Let me take security, for instance. Boko Haram. Some people say they are against book, that book is forbidden. That is what they believe. And so there are some who are sponsoring them directly or indirectly. They have financiers. Those who are funding them for 3 reasons. One, because they believe that book is actually a haram, it should be forbidden. 2, they feel that some of their brothers, maybe they were members of Boko Haram, or maybe they were innocent people, have been killed in the operations of the military in the Northeast. And so they feel, okay, you have killed our brothers, so let us go all out and continue this war. The third group of financiers who are directly or indirectly are those who are not happy, who want to prove a point that they are not happy with what is going on in government. And so they are now supporting these people. However, Boko Haram had been grossly contained. It was not like the previous administration when there were bombs everywhere. People were scared to even go to public places because of bombs. But it has not been eradicated. It has been reduced. The war may not be won now, not even in this administration. It will take a while. It will take a long time because of, one, our borders. You know, the Baga side of the north of Borno is water. And so that's where the Navy are to man. And that water goes up to Central Africa. And these all manners of people come in who are not Nigerians. There are different types of canoes, both in Nigeria and in Chad and in Niger. So they all come in, you don't know the difference because of their marks. There are different kinds of Fulanis who come from other African countries, and there are the Nigerian Fulanis who may be peaceful. So they mix up in that part of the north and make this thing very difficult. The president, because he had been an army officer, he understands the language of security. The chief of army staff cannot go to him and talk about maybe APC, for instance, APC Aminamo tank, for instance. The president understands. Maybe the chief of army staff had not even joined the Nigerian army when the president retired from the military. So the military, the security officers now, the chief of defense staff and other security chiefs, they are conscious that they are dealing with a man who knows about security. Unlike the previous administration, where they can just go and bring any kind of aircraft, I'm talking about the Air Force now, and then sell, and those aircrafts crashed. The Air Force is also very key in this fight against Boko Haram, because it is the Air Force that will do the bombardments wherever they are, I mean the Boko Haram people. And the army too will now come for the mopping. The army will mop and secure, mop and secure. That's it. And the work of the Air Force on that Kaduna-Abuja road has made the kidnapping there to even reduce a bit. There is an Air Force settlement now. That's why it has reduced. Another reason it has reduced is that people are now coming out to give information on who these kidnappers are, because they know them. They even stay on the road together. So the fear of being attacked after giving information made it difficult before to give information about these kidnappers. But now a lot of people, maybe their brothers have been killed, they are pained, they feel concerned, so they are giving information, and that's why the police swap on them and arrested. Then this Abuja-Kaduna road, another reason why it is like that is prevalent is because Kaduna borders a lot of places, Zamfara, Katsina, and when these kidnappers go into that forest, they can move to anywhere, come out in other states without map. But our military men need map to read the directions, which these people don't need. So they have to go and study how to move in the bushes, in the forest, without maps. How do these kidnappers do it without the maps? Then banditry. Somebody was talking about batting, that Boko Haram. So Boko Haram had now added over the batting to armed bandits. To armed bandits. That is what is prevalent now, because they are making so much money from it. It could be politically induced to create a situation or environment of insecurity. It could also be hunger-induced. When people are hungry, they react different ways to situations. Some will take to crime, some will not. It depends on who you are and how you were brought up.
Jide, since insecurity is critical, and that was the point that you emphasized as well, do you agree with Charles Idehu's commentary that Janet has also picked up that it was Boko Haram handing over to farmer herdsmen and then herders handing over the baton to armed banditry?
I disagree.
Is it that simplistic?
I disagree. Those bandits has always been there. On the day Goodluck Jonathan campaigned in Katsina for the job of president, 100 persons were killed in Katsina. It's not a case of handing over to anyone. Boko Haram still kills our soldiers for fun. Boko Haram paraded Nigerian soldiers, 9 of them, before executing them. They made them confess their bases so that you are not in doubt that these are Nigerian soldiers. They made them kneel down and then say, this is where we served before we were picked up. So there is no let-up in the killings by Boko Haram. In fact, contrary to what Nigerians know, the two factions of Boko Haram are in fact very active now. While the Muhammadu faction is attacking us in the Borno North, the Shekau faction is very active in Borno South and parts of central Borno State. A lot of these stories don't get reported. If soldiers get killed in Magumeri the way they were killed, and the pictures of the dead soldiers went viral, nobody needs to give me the impression that the killings have gone down or that Boko Haram is no longer active. I spent Christmas in Borno State last December, and I know what I'm talking about.
But then
we have not defeated the enemy. The enemy held on to Baga for days. Today, even the pictures of Navy boats that were seized in Baga, the Boko Haram had the temerity to publish pictures of the weapons that they seized from the Navy after taking over our naval base. And the naval base, Nigerian Navy could not return to reclaim their base for months because those boys remained there. So is that the impression that you have of an enemy that has been defeated? No. When you say handing over, that means you've done your bit. You are allowing others to continue. These three groups, herdsmen, bandits, and Boko Haram, they've always been active in killing our people. Even before Buhari came in, bandits had been killing people. Herdsmen had been killing people before Buhari came. To give the impression that batting had been passed it will appear like, oh, Boko Haram is no longer active. No, they are still very active. The fact that you don't see bombings happening in Abuja is just a change in strategy. It's the same change in strategy that they adopted even in Somalia. When the enemy thinks that, look, we can no longer maintain all ourselves, that it is not in our best interest to maintain all ourselves, let's concentrate our energy somewhere. All they're after is propaganda and all that. So as far as they are concerned, in Borno State where they are, and some parts of Yobe where they still continue to kill soldiers, because this year alone, I know how many attacks have happened in Yobe. So you can't say that they are not active.
I have a follow-up question to that, but that will be after the break. We must take a break now. You're watching Journalists Hangout. It's Inauguration Day, Wednesday edition. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Yes, you're watching Journalists Hangout on this day, Inauguration Day, when President Muhammadu Buhari is inaugurated. He has been sworn in for another second term in office. If you missed the first edition, we've been looking at the topics, the most resounding points that came from 2018 edition of Journalists Hangout on Democracy Day. Moving on now, to be happy or not seems to be the question agitating the minds of most Nigerians as the country marks 20 years of uninterrupted democracy. Since that fateful day on the 29th of May, 1999, the country has had 4 different presidents, culminating in President Buhari swearing in for a second term in office earlier in Abuja today. Similar events took place in 29 states, out of which 12 will usher in a new set of governors. Top among these is the country's commercial nerve center, Lagos. Residents of the state today welcome a new governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat. It is a new lease of administration and hope of positivism, which is very high. You're watching JH. In Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu takes office as a governor. What are your expectations from him?
Yes, it's my namesake, and we Babajides give our best. So I know that the Babajide who has become governor will give his best. I want to believe that he will be not just a good governor, but a good politician, because it's necessary. You must find the right balance. And I think he made that point during in his speech when he said, I'm not going to change and transform into something that I am not. That's a way of saying that I'm prepared to learn an exemplary lesson from what happened to my predecessor, to his predecessor, because Ambode did well as governor in terms of infrastructure, but I don't think he did well in the political side of things. And you must find that balance, because even if you are a great governor, you need that platform. And it is the politicians, the political party that provides you with a platform. So if you don't get your politics right, you may not be re-elected. It happened to Mahmoud Shinkafi in Zamfara. He worked hard as a governor, but he was not re-elected. So people must be able to strike that balance. Babajide Sanwo-Olu must realize that, yes, Tinubu and the rest of them have done well in Lagos, but there's still a lot they left undone. There is so much work in Lagos, no doubt about it. No matter how brilliant some of his predecessors are, they've left some work undone for him to do. For example, I believe that the task of making Lagos cleaner, we have to take it to the next level. Lagos can be cleaner than it is now. Yes, Lagos, in terms of cleanliness, Lagos suffered a setback under Ambode because it came up with a policy that clearly didn't work, But I'm saying that we can even improve on that, on the policy that we have used over the years, and make Lagos a truly smart and cleaner city than it is today. And of course, in other areas, education and health. Sanwo-Olu has a lot to do. All he needs to do is go around, spend his time, go around, look at the state of things, and then get the right people to work with him. the success that he records will be dependent on the kind of team that is able to assemble. If you can assemble a fantastic team like Tinubu did, honestly, the sky will be the limit.
Janet, Babajide's point cannot be ignored about Governor Sanwo-Olu's speech where he said he's not going to become what he is not. Now, will the vagaries of office in the next 4 years, will they change that position? Will they change him as a person?
If he decides to be somebody else, that means he has failed, because you need to be yourself to be able to deliver. He needs to continue the good projects that he believes Ambode has done and did not complete, and continue from there. He doesn't need to condemn and say because he was his predecessor, he would not want to do that. And the area of insecurity, if you crime map Lagos, the major problem is not kidnapping. It's cultism. Cultism in schools, cultism in the streets, cultism at the motor parks, where there are all manners of rivalry groups, and sometimes when they clash, it's very bloody. So he needs to find out what is really the problem. And those schools, people who live on water, like the Makoko, those children who have to go to school crossing water, I think he should look into that. Then some of the roads in Lagos are not good. He needs to go to those areas, and then he has been given an opportunity to prove himself. And in advertising, they say you don't get a second chance to create a first impression. So he has been given the chance, and this is the first chance. The impression he creates would last. Ambode came as a first-timer, and he created an impression that will last a very long time. So I want him to surpass what Ambode had done. He appears a very good person, although when his name first came up, a lot of people said, who is this man? Where is he coming from? But by the time he reeled out who he is, where he had worked, his experiences, you know that he's a man that is good enough for that job.
Now, there are other new governors, that have been sworn in today: Zamfara, Ogun, Borno, Oyo. There's another one in Imo, I believe. What are your expectations from those new governors? How do you think they'll perform?
Yes, these are challenging times for governors, especially because of the minimum wage. You must first sort that out. They must first address the issue of over-bloated
civil
service in their respective states. This is a problem. We cannot pretend that a lot of those states are carrying dead weights that they really do not need, and it's dragging back those states. You can't spend nearly all that you get from the federation account just paying workers' salaries. There are some of them that you really don't need in the system. So you must find the courage to do what Tinubu did during his first term, to right-size the Lagos civil service, and once you're able to do that, you have an efficient civil service. There are a good number of them that I expect to perform, like the new governor of Borno State, Professor Umar Zulum. He is the architect of the reconstruction of destroyed communities in Borno State, and people have high hopes that he will even outperform. The governor is courageous. He took reconstruction even to dangerous places. And in some cases, places that he reconstructed, they went back, destroyed again. Yet, he and the governor had the courage. For example, Bama, the commercial capital of Borno State, the governor rebuilt Bama. Boko Haram went back, destroyed it. Because the truth is, in most cases, it's only the capitals of the local governments that people are living in. It's only the capitals of the local government that are safe. Once you step out of the capital, you can be killed. So once you do a lot of work, they come back, destroy. And there are still local governments today, like Guzamala local government. You dare not go and live in Guzamala. I can mention politicians in Borno who dare not go to their hometowns. This is the situation. They know it and they're watching me. Guzamala local government, because if you go there, your life is in danger. So, but Professor Umar Zulum went as far as building those places, rebuilding those places. Whether they've gone back to destroy them as they did in Gudumbali is not the issue. But he had the urge to take risk to rebuild. So people have high hopes. And we have someone like Sheyi Makinde who wanted the job for years, and eventually God has answered his prayer. So we want to see what Sheyi Makinde will be able to do, or even Dapo Abiodun in Ogun State. So there are some governors, or even the new man in Adamawa now, Fintri, because clearly a lot of these governors are going to meet an empty treasury. States heavily indebted as a result of the activities of their predecessors, but they have a lot of work to do. So, and the world will be watching them to see how they emerge out of these challenges that stare them in the face.
Janet, very quickly, do you also agree that payment of salaries will be their biggest challenge for the new governors?
I don't think it's going to be one of their biggest challenges. One of their biggest challenges is going to be maybe infrastructure, and I'm talking about a place like Ogun State. I read where Amosun said he had done better than Oshoba and Benga Daniels, and I don't want to agree with him, because if you look at some of the big cities in Ogun State, there is a gross neglect. I'll give you an instance. Mowe, for instance. Mowe is a big town in Ogun State, and that's where the capital, the headquarters of one of the biggest churches are. But Mowe does not have a secondary school, does not have lights, does not have water, does not have good roads, do not even have toilets in their market. And UNICEF is campaigning against open defecation, and then there are no toilets. And when people begin to defecate everywhere, it calls for maybe cholera, all manners of diseases, and there are no health centers for these women. I was there yesterday, and I spoke to the market women on a sensitization project, and these women were talking to me in pains. So that is a place I would like Dapo Abiodun to focus on. Arepo is another place. Arepo has the 2 journalist estates in the whole of the world, and 26 other estates, and it has no road. No road to Arepo. So paying salary...
I'm also concentrated so much on Central, Ogun Central, Abeokuta.
Yes.
When you look at Abeokuta,
bridges.
You see clearly that he has done well in those areas.
Yeah, the capital. He built bridges, and he built another bridge along Ijebu-Ode. I saw that one too.
In my view, there is not so much for Dapo to do in Abeokuta. He should now focus on those rural areas. You know, try to build roads that connect urban centers to rural areas. That is basically the point that he's making. But if you concentrate your energy in urban centers alone, then you can't come out and be boasting that you've done excellently. Why did you neglect the other people? So, but this work never stops. The new governors have come in to continue where others have stopped.
Outgone governors.
And they must find a way to generate extra money, because whether we like it or not, more than 80% of what comes from federation accounts. You saw the report that showed clearly that apart from 4 states, other Nigerian states are not viable. They just take money from federation account and spend the bulk of it on salaries. You know, some of them are even still owing salaries. You know, so they must look inwards, see how they can generate extra income so that they will be able to fix infrastructure in their states.
Yeah, so those governors, the new governors, have their work cut out for them. Still to come, Arsenal, Chelsea lock horns in a UEFA Europa League final. Stay with Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us on Journalist Hangout. We are progressing with our discourse. It is the 2019 UEFA Europa League final in Baku, Azerbaijan today. Two English teams from the same city, London, Arsenal and Chelsea, will lock horns for the trophy. It promises to be a cracker as it offers a chance for both clubs to win a trophy this season. That this is the first all-English final and the first time two clubs from same city are competing at this stage of the competition makes the encounter mouth-watering. So who wins the honor? Me and Akiri, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Nice to be here once again, indeed.
So which team needs this win more, Chelsea or Arsenal?
Well, I think Arsenal needs this trophy most. But then, if there is any individual in the world today who needs this trophy the most, I think it is Mauricio Sarri. Sarri has managed 19 different clubs, but the silverware will never come. He was in the final in the Carabao Cup, and he had an opportunity of winning his first managerial trophy this year, but that didn't pan out. He's got another chance again, but the question is, who will indeed get it? Will Arsenal stop him? Will he get it? You know, that's what Chelsea fans would want to know. But there are a lot of intrigues, going into this game. Petr Cech, who has been in between the sticks, for Arsenal in the Europa League trophy, after this game will be going back to Chelsea Football Club, where he was signed from as a sporting director. This is not going down with fans. Fans don't want him to play. You've got the injury worries for Chelsea Football Club. Arsenal, in the last 4 games of the season in the Premier League, fizzled out. And then a lot of people were shocked. A point, from the games involving Crystal Palace, Leicester City, and all others would have given Arsenal an edge in playing in the UEFA Champions League. But the good thing for Arsenal is the fact that should they get to win tonight, they will be winning a trophy and indeed getting a ticket to the UEFA Champions League next season. And then the last 4 games of the season, which made it look like, oh, this Arsenal team is not ruthless, will be forgotten. But should they fail to win, then the memories of, the fading games towards the last build-up of the season and the final, will indeed haunt the football club, and this will indeed shape, the signings and the players who will stay and leave the football club.
Babaji, do you agree with me on how the intrigues will affect the game?
Yeah, I agree with him that Arsenal needs this most. Arsenal, in the last few years, has been more or less like a European failure. Under Arsene Wenger, Arsenal got to 3 European Cup finals and won none. So Arsenal needs this badly. Arsenal has not won the league in more than 10 years. So they've done well winning FA Cups, but the big cups, they don't win. So now they have an opportunity to win a big cup, a continental trophy. And I believe that Arsenal will win. I predicted that Arsenal will win a few weeks back, and I stand by my prediction. Unai Emery, the Arsenal manager, is an expert at winning the Europa Cup. He's won it 3 times. This is his 4th shake of the dice, and I believe that he will deliver that trophy to Arsenal Football Club. And Arsenal, when you look at Arsenal and Chelsea, the recent matches between both clubs have shown that Arsenal is a better side. Arsenal beating them at home, done well against Chelsea in recent games. And when you look at the fact that Chelsea has injury problems now, then you want to fancy the chances of Arsenal. I think that the battle will be won in the midfield. If the Chelsea strongman, N'Golo Kante, does not feature in this game, then Chelsea will not have the spine to be able to defeat Arsenal, because Arsenal has been known over the years to be a team that places so much accent on midfield play. And they still have people like Ozil, Granit Xhaka, and the swashbuckling player from Uruguay. That's Torreira. Torreira is the sort of player that Arsenal had missed for years, because Torreira will come for you. He does not allow you to settle on the ball. Arsenal didn't have that kind of hard player for years. People always felt they didn't have the spine. But today they have a Torreira, and they have in Ozil, one of the most creative midfielders in world football. On his day, Ozil alone can guarantee victory for you. He's a master of assists, and I fancy his chances of dealing with Chelsea today. Once you take out Hazard, you effectively mark out Hazard. Chelsea is like a whisper in a rock concert, because nobody will hear a whisper in a rock concert.
That's an expression.
Yes. So once you take out Hazard, and I know that Arsenal players will be able to do that. Chelsea will not be able to do anything worthwhile. And one of the best attacking duos in the game is Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette. Both of them on their day, they will deal with any team. So I fancy Arsenal's chances of winning. I'm not afraid to predict that Arsenal will carry the day. If they don't carry the day, I'll be shocked. If they don't carry the day, then they will have convinced me that indeed they are a team like Tottenham that fumbles on the big stage.
Janet, two questions in
finally came to me.
You know, the guys are the football enthusiasts most of the time. Two questions in one. The Chelsea coach, of course, knows these permutations. Do you think, in the light of that knowledge, he'll spring up surprises? And then will Emery's history of wins, as Babajide said, help him to, break this jinx of no wins for Arsenal?
First, let me start with the Chelsea coach, Sarri. He's 60 years. He has been in the profession for 29 years, and he never won any major trophy. So he needs it because his job is on the line. This may be his last outing. Another person whose last outing, or two people, are Peter Cech and Hazard. Peter wants to go to Chelsea. He's a legend from Chelsea to Arsenal now as a goalkeeper, and then he wants to go back as one of their teams.
Sporting director.
Yes, to join them. Then the other person, Hazard, had played for 8 years. He wants to go to Real Madrid. And this may be his final match. He wants Chelsea to win so he can go on a good note. Then coming to Arsenal, the coach had won 3, like he said. Arsenal had not won any major trophy since 1974. So for 25 years, Arsenal had not smelt. Although they beat Chelsea in their last outing, that was in January, they gave Chelsea 2-0. But I cannot predict who will win, because when horns are locked this way, somebody must be brutalized. So, definitely. Again, this is not the first time that we have all English in the finals.
No,
of
talking about Europa Cup. Europa Cup, that's what you're saying.
Okay, for the
we had it in UEFA, but Europa Cup is a first.
In UEFA, we had it in 1972 between Tottenham and Wolves. Yes.
Now it's known as the UEFA Europa Cup. Before you have the UEFA Champions League, and then you have.
That's what I'm saying. That this is not the first time. This is not the first time. That the first time since 1972. This is maybe the first time, like you said. But from that 72 till now, no all English finals. This is the first.
At a point in time, the tournament was known as the European Cup, for example, the UEFA Champions League. Now, when it was known as the UEFA Champions League, you had a Daniel Amokachi, the Nigerian, who became the first player to score a goal in the UEFA Champions League. Now, over the years, the names of these tournaments have been changed. Now, ever since it became the UEFA Champions League and the Europa Cup, we've not had, an all-English final in the Europa Cup. So this is the first. Yes. The Europa Cup, this is the first time we're having an all-English final in the Europa Cup.
But in the Champions League, we've had English finals.
Yes. We've had Tottenham
Man United against Chelsea
and all of that.
in 2008.
It's the first time.
Okay, so let's also analyze it further. For Arsenal and Chelsea, they've all had 6 times outing at the finals, at the championship finals. And this is the number 198 times that they will meet each other. So they're always meeting. they are familiar people.
Familiar foes.
Yes. So both of them need
The same city.
they both need the victory. Maybe one needs it more, but some will be more determined, like Sarri, to get it, so that at least in his lifetime, let him win one trophy.
Okay, let's look at the politics of it as we share our final thoughts. I'm going to start with you, and Azerbaijan and Armenia are technically at war over a disputed enclave, and the match is taking place in Baku. So how will this politics affect the business side of the football?
Well, it's as simple as saying that at the moment Chelsea probably has the edge, 1-0 if you look at it from the political angle, because now you have Enric Mkhitaryan raised from Armenia. Because of this political situation, he wouldn't be playing. He failed to travel. Well, UEFA tried doing everything to ensure that Enric Mkhitaryan is safe, but he says no. So, and the head coach of Arsenal, Emery, felt that decision, should be respected. But it's sad that this, is taking its toll on football. And let's see if there could be, a way to resolve political situations like this, whereby politics and football, don't get to affect one another. We're seeing what the Olympic Games will offer in the future, when you have the likes of China, Japan, and all other countries, getting to come together to play, football matches and all that. So I hope that in the future, things like this, will be resolved using sports
early
enough.
enough. Babajide, briefly.
Yes, well, the joy that I have is that Enric Mkhitaryan is a French player at Arsenal. He's not really a regular, so they won't miss him. They won't miss him in the big games. They don't go for him because he has not been able to tie down a shirt at Arsenal. They have much better players than him, so they won't miss him. It won't stop them from beating Chelsea.
Janet, briefly, as we wrap up.
Well, I think politics should be left out of football. Football is not supposed to be brought into politics. One of the players, like I said, is not going because of the political situation.
I don't think it's the politics. He's staying away for his security.
It's because really of politics. I think it's politics.
No,
security
it's security, not politics.
Yes, because they are intertwined.
Security.
They are intertwined. He feels insecure.
He feels unsafe there.
Exactly.
That's
because of the political situation, it's the politics that has now brought, it is prompted, it is insecurity induced by politics.
And just to add that, there are reports that the tickets were not sold out, perhaps as a result of this concern. That's our offering on Journalist Hangout. Just to also add very quickly that, viewing centers, owners of viewing centers should make their viewing centers safe because there's a lot of, people have a lot at stake, ahead of this game. So join us again tomorrow for another edition of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on your screen and on youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Thank you for watching and God bless Nigeria.